Hello, welcome to another video where today I'm going to be talking about a little epiphany I had about a part of the property that's in the woods but isn't quite natural. This right here is the remains of an old basketball court that's on the property. This whole area used to be a bit more of like a recreation area for the surrounding communities back in like the 60s to 80s or whatever. And this is a bit newer, obviously. Basketball wasn't all that popular until like the 80s, but this is apparently what this was. The hoops are no longer here, but the actual asphalt is. Now, while this is more or less here to stay, nature has sort of reclaimed the area a bit, and I've known about this place for a long time. I used to play here, and to that point, this is what gave me the epiphany. This is a piece of ash branch that I brought over here myself quite a few years ago. You can even see the marks where I trimmed it up with the machete. And this was years ago, 5, maybe 6 years. And it's still here, and it's still obviously a little rotted, but solid. This should not have occurred. If this was sitting anywhere else, it would not be here. It would have been rotted, completely and utterly gone. Now, I hypothesize that this is for 2 reasons. First, the fact that it's on asphalt prevents it from touching too much dirt, which would cause decay. It still did decay where it was touching the ground, but not as bad. And I think this is related to the second reason insofar as this stays relatively dry compared to especially wet dirt. This place will bake you in the summer. Back when I originally brought this over here, I had intended to make this sort of like a camp. Use it as a foundation to, play around in the woods and all that. In the summer, I had to abandon that because it was just too hot. You couldn't spend any more than 15 minutes out here doing anything labor intensive. You would start to feel sick. Obviously, if you're using this for what its intended purpose was, to play basketball, you're going to be moving around and it's not going to be as bad. And there's probably going to be considerable wind that's helping cool you off. Standing in one spot, hacking away at a piece of wood, you bake pretty quickly. Which of course then gave me the idea, why don't I just dry all my wood here? The heat coming off of the asphalt will have almost a kiln-like effect that will lead to it drying probably better than it otherwise would. And I'm very hopeful because, well, I haven't been having much success drying wood anywhere else on the property. Especially if you can raise the wood up off of the ground, it's probably going to be even better at keeping these pieces from rotting. So following from that, now we're drying our wood here. This seems like the best spot for it, especially with how wet things can be in other places. This is going to be much drier and much hotter, which should lead to better outcomes. Although, full disclosure, I did not move this here nor build this. I do plan on expanding it, but this is currently all my dad's work. I had finals and he was doing some spring cleaning, offered to do it. So while I did cut a lot of this wood and I plan to cut more and probably expand this, add a roof, all that stuff, this being here and this is all my dad. I'm not gonna take credit for work I haven't done, so big thanks to him. So there we go. Finally figured out what to do with this place. This wood had to be dried somewhere, and it's being dried in a place that's probably suited for doing so. At the very least, it's a use of something that's otherwise just sort of dead space. Anyway, I do hope you learned something, enjoyed, and as always, I wish you the best. It's getting really hot here. So hot, in fact, it made me mess up the outro at the finish line. That place just really, really bakes you. Anyway, till next time.